I see pickup trucks hauling shit, they're hauling shit and it's not properly tied down. Their tailgate is down, stuff falls off. There's been numerous times where stuff is falling out of the back of the truck because the person driving didn't properly secure their package or their belongings. I've seen ladders fly off, more than ever it seems to be. I don't know what is wrong with people, but it needs to stop. Gotta love this beautiful spring weather. First things first, always wear your seatbelt. Number one rule, you gotta wear your seatbelt. 2 hands on the wheel, 9 and 3. Some people are 10 and 2. I know sometimes when I go to the gym, after the gym, my arms are sore, I'll do like a 10 and 2. Anyway, I want to talk about driving etiquette. I want to talk about performance driving with older vehicles or daily drivers. And when I say, I'm not talking about track stuff. So all you expert weekend warriors at the racetrack, just keep scrolling because this video isn't for you. This is for normal people that want a few tips on how to drive better if they're driving something that's older. So first of all, like I said before, seatbelt. 2 hands on the wheel. You want to be alert at all times. You want to have clean windows so you can see out of your windows. Always be thinking and looking ahead. One tip that I got years ago, which was an excellent tip, was pretend when you're on the highway that everyone else around you is drunk, intoxicated, impaired, or whatever, as if they could be, because odds are you're going to run into someone who is. Even on a daily basis. It's really sad how many people drink and drive and how many people are medicated on pain pills and they're driving when they're not supposed to. So you have to watch out for them. Don't race up the stoplights. You see people doing this all the time. Racing up to a stoplight does nothing except wear your car out, waste gas. If you're driving at rush hour, there is no need to speed and weave in and out through traffic. If there are no openings, you're not going to get anywhere. I'm not talking about passing the slow person that is in the left lane that should not be in the left lane. I'm not talking about that. It's that Camaro with exhaust. There are going to be people you have to navigate around and maneuver around. Always indicate, use your turn signals. You gotta love springtime. Well, aside from the pollen's a little ridiculous, but it's nice and cool. It's not too hot. The sun is out. The days are longer. And it just makes life a little more pleasant for those of us that have all 4 seasons. So I'm at a stoplight. I want to look around. I don't want to just blindly stare at the stoplight. Some people will just blindly stare at the stoplight, tunnel vision, and then they'll just go. That's not good. You want to be aware because people make mistakes. People run lights. People do dumb shit. Again, at any given time, somebody could be drunk or impaired, so be ready for it. It's not only late at night, too. It happens during the day. People go into work intoxicated. And then when the light turns green, I'm going to wait a second. I'm going to look around. I want to make sure everything's good. And I'm going to accelerate. I'm going to take off because I don't want to hold up traffic. I'm not going to be too slow and too careful either. So I'm coming up to a stop sign, indicator, brakes. I allow plenty of time to brake, that way I'm not wearing my brakes out. I look around. I use the mirrors. It's a 4-way stop, so I have the right of way, and no one else is at the stoplight or stop sign. Those school buses, always stop for them and be careful because depending on where you are, you can get a ticket even if they're on the other side of the road and they're stopped. A buddy of mine got a ticket on a 4-lane highway, 250 bucks. For failing to stop. I can't exactly describe the situation, but two lanes northbound, 2 lanes southbound. There was no median, maybe that's what it was. But anyway, he got a $250 ticket. The bus was all the way on the other side, and they were pulling over a lot of people and stopping and finding a lot of people. Okay, so now I'm on a back road. 2 hands on the wheel. I'm looking ahead. Whenever there's a blind turn coming up, I'm thinking, okay, something could be around that turn. Not only a car, it could be an animal on the road. It could be a deer. There could be a dog. There could be roadkill that I need to maneuver around. So I have to be ready for all of those things. One thing that I left off: when you get into the car, make sure you look around, make sure everything is in its proper place. The mirrors, make sure the mirrors are lined up as they should be, especially if someone else had recently driven your car. You want to make sure that everything is ready to go, the seat's in the right position, steering wheel, everything. You're comfortable. Driving older cars, especially older than this, because really, this is still a modern car. I mean, it has power steering, power brakes, it has traction control. So what I'm trying to say is these cars, even though they're 20 years old, they are still pretty easy to drive. You just have to be careful when you're braking, because your brakes aren't going to be as good as a brand new car that has a bigger rotor and a better caliper on it. All the SUVs on the road, you're going to have to be careful because there's so many trucks, there's so many vehicles that are large and take up a lot of space. And you cannot always see around them if you're in a car like this. Get some AC on. It's getting hot in here. So really keep it simple. Be aware of your surroundings. When you do make a turn, I'm old school. If you're somebody that's young and mobile, don't be scared to look over your shoulder. If you have good flexibility, you don't have any neck injuries or problems, don't be scared to look over your shoulder. I like to do it if I'm going to look over my shoulder, even though I know it's not recommended. They don't recommend it in driving school, but I don't know, I'm old school like that. And my other car, the 350Z, has some blind spots, so it doesn't hurt. We're in an era now, unfortunately, where people don't want to drive. They want to sit and have a computer do everything for them. And it's not good to be sedentary. I can go on a rant about that and how it's destroyed people in this country. Look at the amount of obesity we have, the obesity epidemic, people that are overweight. Nobody's physical anymore. They're not as active as they should be. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you drive a car with a manual transmission, without any driver's age, without power steering, it's going to make you a better driver. I'm not saying that all tech is bad. There's a lot of cool tech in cars nowadays. And I like tech that enhances the driving experience, not tech that does the driving for you. Blind spot indicators bad? Absolutely not. Backup cameras? Absolutely not. Most of the newer cars, and this isn't even a new feature, will contact the police if you're in a car accident. That's great. That's fantastic. Although there can be problems with that. I'm sure some of those have malfunctioned and called the police when you bump in a parking lot, when you hit your front bumper or something, you scrape on the curb. I wouldn't be surprised. Back to traffic. When you're driving in traffic, and you see this all the time at rush hour, don't get caught up in it. People that are racing home, and there's no room on the road to drive fast. It's one thing if you have open spots, if you have big gaps, and you can safely speed and maneuver around people. That's one thing. But this stuff that they're doing now, where I forget what the kids call it, when they cut through traffic, and they call it cutting up. That's what it is. It's dangerous as hell. Go to a racetrack, man. It's just not cool. Don't do that. Don't cut up, don't weave in and out. That's what we used to call it. Use the performance when you need to. To pull out in front of traffic, that's when you get on the gas. To merge, to create distance, to get around a big truck or somebody that's hauling something that you need to get around so you can see. And that's another thing too. Watch out for these trucks. A lot of these trucks, I see pickup trucks hauling shit. They're hauling shit and it's not properly tied down. Their tailgate is down. Stuff falls off. There's been numerous times where stuff has fallen out of the back of the truck because the person driving didn't properly secure their package or their belongings. I've seen ladders fly off. More than ever, it seems to be. I don't know what is wrong with people, but it needs to stop. Pay attention to the vehicles too. Like what type of vehicle is in front of you? Is it a truck? Is it hauling anything? Is it a work vehicle? Is it a sedan? Is it an electric car? Doing this will make you a better driver. Being aware of your surroundings. Indicate early. Brake. Like this guy's tailgating me, but I'm about to make a turn. I'm not going to wear out my brakes just because he wants to go 20 over. I was going a good 10 over, and I'm making the video, so I don't want to be too aggressive, obviously. Be aware of your surroundings. at all times. You can never be too aware of what's going on. Don't take anything for granted on the road. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Stay tuned.